Islam, Islam, Islam. I like to rise, giving all praises to Allah, honor to Prophet Noble Ali, honors to all of you, honors to where honors due. Islam. We'd like to thank you for joining Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. And we hope that you will find and receive some positive, informative information from our show tonight. And our topic tonight is dating. So we like to thank you all for joining us and hope that you enjoy the show. And I'm going to pass it to Sister Elberry Bay. Islam.
Islam. Well, my name is Sister Elberry Bay. I'm coming out from Brooklyn, New York, Temple 34. Welcome to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. First, and also I'd like to rise and give praises to Allah and honor to His Prophet and honor to each and every one of you and all the viewers. Peace.
Islam. I'm Sister A. Ravin Obey. I'm from Temple number 21, Brooklyn, New York, but holding down the West Coast here in Oakland, California. I am first rise. I give praise to Allah. I give honor to our Holy Prophet. And I give honor to all of you here today to hear us talk about a wonderful conversation that we're taking off of part 1 of part 2, which was around relationships. And we're going to talk a little bit more about relationships and dating and include that in our conversation tonight. So thank you, viewers, for being here. But sisters, we're here to talk. So
yes,
right. I got a question that we're going to take this off. We talked so much last week about the importance of relationships. And I guess my first question is, what have you really learned about yourself when it comes to relationships?
Praise Allah. What have I learned? Well, I've learned that when it comes to myself in relationships, and not only with the process of dating or courting, just relationships in general, that you have to put out positive and peaceful energy. I think that it's important to make sure that you are giving wholeheartedly your full self, your higher self. You know what I mean? I think for any relationship with anybody, for that to work, you have to be sincere and you have to be patient with not only yourself, but others.
That's right.
There's a lot.
Well, what I've learned, I was listening to you speak, Sister T. Hopkins Bay, and great question, Sister Ravin Bay.
That's right.
When you say you have to be mindful of your energy, in the way you behave. And so what I've learned is that, in my studies, is that we are returning wherever we fell. And so the people that we are connected with, whether we say it's not a good relationship or not, it's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because Prophet Noble Ali taught us, that without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that even someone who's just you trying to be friends with and it becomes complicated, that is a potential foe, but doesn't mean that it's the individual person. It's the spirit of the person that they're representing, whether it's the lower self or higher self. I understand who you are, what my purpose is, what your purpose is now. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I learned that to have patience, because this is the foe that we all must fight. We must learn how to get along. We must learn how to love instead of hate. I didn't know I was hating when I would say, I don't want to talk to you no more and hang up the phone on you. I didn't know I was hating or being mean. I'm defending myself, from that low vibration. I learned to cope with it better, and I learned to respond better.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah. Yeah, what both of you are saying really resonates, because when you are in a relationship with a person, whether it's your family members, your mother, your children, your brother, your friends, and dating, I think it also shows you where you can learn and grow. The Prophet says where others see you most plainly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think of it also as an opportunity of growth when you are, what I learned about myself. I used to get upset, with my husband, early on, and he would take time. He was really into sports. And I'm like, man, why does he can just take the whole day and this stuff? Don't he see those dishes? Don't he see this and that? And, you fast forward, and actually what I learned from that was that he valued his downtime, and I'm still learning how to get that time. And he's able to compartmentalize and think about slowing down and doing things certainly. And I learned, like, oh, that angered me, but what it actually did was teach me I need to figure out how to get 30 minutes for me to do that. Maybe not like as long as he did, but I need to learn from that. And so relationships, I think, teach you about others, but it also teaches you about yourself.
True. Definitely.
Yeah. Indeed.
Praise God.
And you know, with dating too, I want to speak to that. When Sister Rabinobe said with my husband watching, you know, the sports, for me, with dating, I used to feel that same way. Like, you know, the garbage needs to be taken out right now, or, you know, the dishes. And so sometimes we put this type of pressure on our significant others. Let them learn to grow into helping you with household chores. I wouldn't say the garbage, because he always takes the garbage out, but with like dishes, washing clothes, doing the things that you think only women supposed to do. Be patient. They learn from you. You know, they're still like being in a motherly type of way if you're pressuring them. So be careful, sisters. You know, show them what you need sometime and communicate it clearly.
Praise the Lord. It's funny that y'all brought that up, because, you know, for 10 years of my husband and myself's marriage, I was the stay-at-home mom. So before, you know, the restaurants and food trucks, praise Allah, I was a stay-at-home mom for, you know, that period of time. And I put so much pressure on myself because, you know, the brother was out in the workforce, in the work world, doing it all day long. And I would want him to come home and have peace. So I was like stressing myself out, like the house got to be clean, dinner has to be done, the children got to be, you know, in their little space. And I wanted him to like be able to come home and like chill.
Yes.
And then we had 4. You know what I mean? And it became a lot.
Yeah.
It became a lot to do.
Yeah.
Because I remember when he left his job for us to start our business, he had never experienced the picking up from school, the 3 o'clock. I used to call our house the 3 o'clock live house, because when 3 o'clock hit and everybody was home, our house was live. Everybody was all over the place. You know, they had been antsy from being in school, and they wanted to do this and do that. And they had, you know, everybody had a story about what happened. And then everyone was hungry. And he was like, how did you manage to do all of this when I came home from work and still deal with everything that's going on?
Right.
And he was so humbled and grateful, because he was like, I can't imagine having to do this every day. This is a lot. It's a lot. And so just him acknowledging that was a blessing. I was like, wow, you get it. You understand.
Yes.
And, you know, but that made us grow closer, because, you know, we had he understood where I was coming from, and I understood where he was coming from. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that brought us closer as a unit, because, you know, he got to see life from my perspective. And then he was like, you know, I'm so glad I gave, you know, we made the choice to go into finally doing something that you have always wanted to do. And that was just a blessing. It was a humble blessing for us both. It was beautiful.
Yes. Wow.
But I'm gonna go into our next question really quick. It says, what does friendship and dating mean to you?
Friendship and dating. What does it mean? It means that you're creating your space of happiness, experiences, memories, things to do. My husband and I, my children, we had this thing where we had events. We would coordinate as a family in dressing, or we would coordinate. I just had a thing for that. Like, let's all wear this color. Let's all wear that color. My husband was like, you so annoying. Wear color. Okay. And he would go along with it. And then it became a part of our, you know, repertoire. somewhere the family had a certain color on, or him and I would go together, and it just felt like, wow, we're a team. You know, we're doing something where people see us move together as a unit. I just always had that in my mind. But your question, I think it shows you, and it shows you how to get along and how to treat people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. It shows me who I am, and where I need to improve, and how to be kind, or how to treat people, I would say.
I also think it helps me think about, we're all moving through this world, following the path, doing what we need to do. But it makes me think about who Allah has blessed us to surround us with, the people, the experiences, the words, the thoughts, the encouragement that we have to be able to do it, because we are not alone on this path. And he just surrounds us with people to give us different things when we need it. And, my husband too, like when it may not be the dishes, but when it comes down to the hardcore stuff, always has my back. I was flying to Chicago for Temple and doing this. He was like, don't worry, I took care of the car. Don't worry. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, you just swooped on in there. And it's almost like, to me, when you have the ability to have beautiful friendships and they continue to grow, it's like having people around you that are helping you move forward. And you're moving we're all helping each other out. It's the bonds of affection. Therefore, unite us. So it can be very powerful.
Absolutely. It makes your heart smile. It's like, when you feel that, because to me, to be in my relationship with my mate, we had to be friends before we could be anything else. And so it's so deep, because we even say to this day, we are each other's best friends. Like, we understand each other, we vibe well together.
Yes.
I think it is important to be friends first, because you get to know the person, and you also get to put out, your expectations, not only from the person that you're dating or dealing with, or your friend, but for yourself, because there are times when you may expect something from them, but it's like, well, what you bringing to the table? You got to check yourself and make sure, you know what I'm saying? Because we often have expectations for others, but we have to make sure that we are living up to the same expectations that we are asking others of having. We want people who are amazing friends to us, but are we amazing friends to them? You have to be able to give as much as you are asking for. And when it comes to that relationship of dating and courting, you want to make sure that you're evenly yoked, that you're connected.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, praise Allah and honors to those who are in that process, or those who have experienced that, because it takes a lot of work, and not necessarily work on the other person, but work on self. Everything comes back to self.
Right. Wow. So that initial question was, again?
It was, give me 1 second. What does friendship and dating mean to you?
Okay.
Yes.
Did we all answer that? I think we all answered that.
Right? We all answered that. Yeah.
Praise Allah. So I'm going to move on to the next question. Thank you, Sister T. Hopkins Bay.
You're welcome.
Why is it important to be friendly? And what will you tell your younger self to prepare for it?
You put them both together.
Right.
Oh, so this is a two-part question? Yes, it's a two-part question, it looks like.
However you want to answer. I mean, when I hear that, think about, Prophet tells us, be friendly to mankind as you want mankind to be friendly unto thee. Because to me, being friendly means you're bringing a beautiful disposition to you. So to me, when you are being friendly, when you're having a relationship with somebody, you want to make sure that you are bringing your best, your highness, your most loving. And when we recognize we're mixed, we got a mix in this. So there are going to be highs and lows, but why is it important? It's because it brings out the best in the other person.
Yes.
If I come with high energy, you feel it. And we have a saying in our house, like, be responsible for the energy you bring up in this room.
That's
because
right.
one person doesn't have to say, one child can have a bad problem, or they come in a room and we all feel it, and everybody shuts down and everybody's kind of quiet, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're responsible for it. So I think when you're in relationship with a person or whoever it is, making sure your energy comes off with that love and that friendliness, that is important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that makes me think of what you also just quoted, Sister Ravenel Bay, where it speaks about in the Quran is thy duty to be friendly. And it's so, when we praise Allah for the dissection of words, okay? Because when we go into that, duty means responsibility.
That's right.
The prophet is giving us a charge within that. He's telling us it is our duty to be friendly to mankind. So to me, that's saying that you're responsible and you need to be held accountable. And I look at it as, what is the harm in showing love? Our prophet teaches us about, loving thy neighbor, loving those who, are kin, those who are not kin, the stranger at the gates, the foe who seeks to do you harm. So when we're being friendly to others, it's showing our character. And the character that Moorish American Muslims demonstrate is to be friendly.
That's right.
Is to be friendly to all those who you come in contact with.
That's right.
And so it is important to show because we have to show how we vibe, how we move, how it's different. You have to show that you have the blessings of Allah that is within you each and every day. And so by doing that, you are showing your friendliness to those that you come in contact with.
That's right. While your sister was speaking and giving you demonstrations on that, I thought of no man live unto himself. For every other living thing is bound by cause to every other living thing. And so when you think of that, we don't really think of that as, before we met the prophet, we didn't have that measure. And so and it's a little different for Sister Ravenel Bay because I believe she grew up in the movement, right? And so when you don't have that measure, you think that you could just go away from people and it will change and that particular thing won't happen again.
Right.
So you're going to run into these different behaviors. What our responsibility is to learn how to respond to that energy or whatever it is that moves you in the wrong way. So it's important that you study yourself. It's all about studying yourself. And what would I tell my younger self? It's an illusion. These experiences are an illusion. They're going to pass away.
Stop
stressing that thing out, girl.
That's
Don't
right.
stress that boyfriend out, that first crush you have, it is going to go away. Trust me. You're wasting all of tears, stress, and time, young ladies. If you can hear me, young brothers, because it's about learning how to function amongst others. You learn them, you get friends, and you have memories you're creating. And you go, wow, man, when we was 12 years old, you remember that crush I had on you? We used to ride skateboards together and I gave you a lollipop. That's the good things you remember, but try to stay away from the sorrows. It's just an illusion. It will pass away. And that's my measure, on that.
Wow.
That's important.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
That is true.
I'm going to ask a next question because it's kind of what you just said, Sister Berry Bay. You kind of moved in that direction. What is the most hardest lesson or the most difficult lesson you learned in being in a relationship?
Oh, sister. Learning that I don't own my boyfriend. Or you don't own nobody.
Tell me more, sis.
I mean, you think you own someone, and that's where all the drama coming at. We don't own anyone. And so that is a great measure when you learn that this is just an experience. Stay in your lane. Don't rush being adults. You're gonna wish you was young again, and you don't have to pay bills, rent, all of those things. Babies, you have to take care of babies. So what I've
Mhm.
learned to be patient, enjoy your youth, be young, be industrious and do great things, so that you can have memories, your family can have memories you can share with your great grandchildren that you never think about while you're doing all the foolish things in your life. So
Mhm.
I would say just, just stop thinking you own someone. Don't control everything. Because I thought I can control everything around. Nope, that ain't happening. Nope, nope. You can't control every single thing. You have to let things flow because that's what Allah put you for the
Mhm.
experience. Yeah.
Praise God.
Mhm.
I would say I learned that you can't change everyone and you can't save everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that, for me personally, before I even had children, I had that motherly nature. And so I was often trying to help everybody or save everybody or make everything easy for everyone else.
Mhm.
And, it's important because every tub has to sit on its own bottom.
That's right.
So, you
That's right.
know, allow people to go through things that they may have to go through. Of course, it's always a blessing to be able to, share your experience that
Hmm.
you've gone through with
Right.
them, especially
Hmm.
if you see them going down a path that you don't, particularly want them to go down it because you've been down that path.
Hmm.
Um, you try to save somebody from the struggles or the hardships that you've gone through.
Hmm.
But we also have to remember that, people are going to go through what they are going to go through. And you can only be an example today of what, how you're supposed to live your life
That's right.
for the better. And, being young, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fall, you're going to, do some things. But the important thing is to get back up and always remember who you are. And see, here's the difference. When I was younger, I didn't have that strong foundation of the prophet in the temple and
Hmm.
the knowing of Allah. You know what I mean? Like I knew some things about, like, yeah, there's a God, but I didn't know those intricate details of what I needed to know.
Right.
And so growing up, not having that, it put me in a position to fall down and have some bumps and bruises. You know what I mean? But the blessing is to know the prophet and know Allah today.
Hmm.
That is what got me to a point where I was like, this is all I need. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I think, in the previous world, the previous life that you was living before, you felt like you needed a lot of unnecessary things. Those illusions that you spoke about earlier, Sister Berry Bay, we felt like, yeah, we needed those things.
Yes.
I mean, we needed to be a part of that nonsense at times. And
Hmm.
it's a blessing to, follow the prophet's lessons and know that you don't need that.
Hmm.
You don't need that. So I would tell my younger self, you're gonna go through some things, but them things, use them as lessons.
Yes.
Use them as tools.
Hmm.
Like the tools that we use in the workshop of the mind. We're
That's
gonna have to get rid of that stuff. We're gonna have to get rid of that nonsense. And we're gonna have to drive home that truth with that hammer that the prophet gave us.
That's right. Come on.
There's a lot.
That's right.
I hear both of you all, you said you can't change anybody. It was a lesson you learned. You said,
Mhm.
you can't save anybody. And I'm going to tell you, I had expectations. I was like,
Mhm.
I just expected, I was like, okay, well, this is your role. This is your position. I expect this. This is who you are. I expect these things. And then I realized, when you get disappointed by expectations,
Yes.
Absolutely.
because those are your expectations. And the
Right.
reality is that you can't change anyone. The only one you can do is you. Prophet said, you got to know thyself.
Hmm.
So it was really saying, and after, but you'll help me. And if you well studied, you got to go back and
Right.
know yourself.
Study yourself. That's right.
And so that was a really big lesson, because even being in the movement, you see things Allah reveals to you as you continue to grow.
Yes.
And as you grow, no matter where you come, you
Hmm.
grow. You know, you continue to grow and you see things, and little by little, Allah continues to give you more. And what I realized is that all that stuff that I assumed was the expectation, particularly when you're younger too, you know, you grow up and like, you just have these beliefs of what it should be or what people are supposed to be. And you're like, actually, they go on to work out their own life sums too. So I got to be cautious to recognize that while they're working on their life sums, I got to work on my life sums. And I can't be let them do what they need to do. And also recognize I have to have some level of, you know, awareness that as they're growing, we're all growing. And so it may not be the perfect that I have in my head because I'm not perfect. I got to work on me as everybody's working on them. So
that's right.
I can't be hard on them and I can't be hard on myself.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. Yes. And with that said, I think I want to go to the next question if we're ready, sisters.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it says here, what did you think friendship was when you were young?
I thought it was everybody should like me. Everybody should like me because I'm me, you know. I felt like, you know, as long as I'm nice to people, they will like me. And boy, was that not reality. You cannot force people to like you. You cannot force people to love you. You just have to be you, be the best you that you can possibly be, and hope and pray that all works out. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm just thinking of my young self. You know, when I was younger, I would try to do, I think I just said this, try to do everything for everybody in hopes that they would be more kind to me. And that's just not how it played out. And so I had to figure out that you can still be kind, but just be kind just because you want to be kind. Do not do it because you are expecting something from someone else.
Right.
So I think that's the important thing. We have to make sure that we are doing, you know, we are being just to others just because that's what we are supposed to do. So praise Allah.
Islam. Sister Rabin Bay?
You know, I think I agree with her. I think when I was younger, I thought, well, if I just do all the right things and I be kind to this person, they would automatically be like, oh, I'm your friend. And it was like, no, I don't need to be your friend, but I can take what you just gave me. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. You mean that I thought was friendship, was just being kind and giving and helping. And what I learned more is that you have to be all those things, but also just being yourself, you know, letting people see you how you are. And I don't think I knew that, you know, it was about me making sure that I was doing the right things, check the right boxes, you know, get the A, right, get the gold star, you know, and I thought that was the way it was going to show up.
Wow. And for me with that, what did I think about friendship when we were young? It was, to me, taking care of my friends whenever they needed me. I had a friend who moved to Atlanta when she was young. And, well, we were young. We were teenagers, just coming into our early 20s, I believe. And she was moving, and it was devastating for me. I was like, oh, my God, my friend is leaving. So I made her a whole lunch with her favorite meal, some fried chicken, a couple of pieces, put in some foil, and then her favorite piece of chocolate, you know, and whatever she liked, I put in that bag. And I went on her door and I said, here, this is for tomorrow, you know, make sure you don't, you know, leave it or whatever. And then that was the candy, but the fried chicken I brought to her nice and hot. And she was like, you probably never flew before, but I can't take this chicken on a plane. And she was so excited about it. And she told her grandmother, you know, look what Nat did. She said, well, that's what friends do. So it was about taking care of my friends. I even, you know, it was a homeless young lady. I think I shared this story before, was in a laundromat. I used to do my laundry. And she was homeless. She was young like us. And she wanted her hair washed and braided like mine. And I took her home, braided hair, washed it. And my aunt was like, you can't bring everybody home. So I was the person who, was very carefree at a young age, and I had to learn the hard way, where people like, no, we don't rock that way. And I have friends who protected me from it. And so just knowing what your purpose is, you can be that fully. And as that question we asked earlier, what did you learn? I learned to step into who I am, no matter what a person is and whether they accept it or appreciate you. It's not about them. It's about what Allah's expecting of me. And I'm learning to step in that better, because I was not that good before. I would, like I told you, you get a tongue lashing or something, it's like, oh my God, why did I say that like that? I'm defending myself, but then you feel bad, because you don't understand that person may have experienced so many different things in life, way worse than you can ever imagine. So just being mindful what your purpose is in that person's life, I think that's very important. You just be attentive to that particular energy and say, okay, they need this. And that friend that I'm speaking about, she lost her mother at a very young age. So that's why she got that treatment. So I knew how to channel, I knew energy, and I knew how to channel what was needed at the moment. So praise Allah.
Praise Allah. So I'm going to go into our next question, which is, what things do you practice when building relationships?
Listening. Listening.
Sincerity.
I think sincerity and open communication. Trying to be there for people, because you don't know when you're building a relationship how they need you, how people need you or what's going on. And so I think it's really important to just also try not to judge, try not to judge what's happening or the situations of the people. It's really, really important, because we're so much more, and it takes a while for you to understand the fullness of a person. And even still, you may not even know a lot. So when you first meet them, sometimes you can be quick to judge, and you got to find a way not to do that. And so I think listening and just talking and being open with a big heart is important.
Right. Praise Allah. I think, praise Allah for what you just stated, because there have been many times where I've gone into a conversation with someone and said, listen, this is a no judgment zone. Right. And so whatever you need to get off of you that is weighing on you, just go ahead. Let's talk. Right. And see, that does two things. That lets people know that whatever it is that they're going to tell you or express to you, they have your confidentiality. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, it's that you're making them feel comfortable and welcome, and you have to hold that, their stuff, their truth. You have to keep that to yourself, because they're trusting you at that moment. You know what I mean? And then to me also, it's like, when they are because everybody doesn't have that outlet, and so when they come to you and they need to speak to you for whatever it is that is burdening them, you are allowing them to it's almost like an uplifting moment, because they're able to get out what they may have been harboring with inside themselves for however long. And so I think that's so important, because you're giving them the opportunity to just be. A lot of times, as sisters, as mothers, as wives, as women, as men, whatever, we have to be everything to everyone else. And I know I spoke about this before. We have to be everything to everyone else. And at times we don't just get to be us. We don't get to say, what we may be holding on to, or what things made us feel a certain way, or what things, may have made us think a certain way. And sometimes you may need to be able to just get that off your chest.
Right.
And have someone be able to hear it. And then you go into the process of, how can I fix it? A lot of times we go into things and we just like, well, what can I do to fix it? well, you may not be able to do anything to fix it. You may just be that ear for someone to get off of them what they need to get off.
Right.
Right.
So, that's important.
It is.
That's very important what you spoke about, and what I've learned in that as well. And I learned this from my own like family relationships. Not everybody really wants to hear your answer or your resolution. They want to vent to you. And sometimes when you do seem to give, because I'm want to give advice immediately from my experience, and so I had to learn to pull back, because I'm like, why they not receiving it? What's happening here? And so I had to learn that not everybody want it from you. What you are giving, they don't want it from you. And I had relationships where people will share things with me, very personal things. They know that it's never come back. So I like the fact that you made it very important that the confidentiality that comes with trust and sincerity, because you don't just tell people your business or your struggles that you're going to. You actually share that with people that you have gained some type of a trust. You can see the person moral compass is there. You know, they have something about them that I know I can entrust them. Sometimes you don't even have to speak the words. Like, this is between you and I. There's a relationship that bonds that develop, and you don't have to know each other that long. That's what I'm learning as well. You do not have to. It's a certain way that you carry yourself where people will trust you. You know, see that it's in your heart. You have this certain path that you're walking, and people go, wow. You know, I can have I mean, I've had that for a very long time. People can share things. And so I want to say thank you to those who feel comfortable sharing with Sister Elberry Bay. And as a healer, I learned that I have to protect my energy. I think I spoke of this before. I protect my space because of the work that has to be done when you're helping people move into a different way of being. You know, they're suffering. You're helping them by your own experiences. And you have to really show that's what you're doing. This is not a talk game.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to be the example and be the message that we bring to share and help people move forward. So thank you for sharing that, Sister T.
I have to just, go with you on that, sis, too, on this conversation. To me, the theme really is trust, because when you trust someone, you are opening yourself up in a way that enables you to know that it's safe.
Right.
For me, when you are in a relationship where you know that I can say whatever, do whatever, share something, and it will land safely, that to me is a beautiful relationship when you have that, because that is what most people need. I think at the end of the day, we all want to know that we have been heard, that we have been seen, that we are valued. And in some ways, we're not judged for what it is, but there's some level of compassion that comes with whatever's going on. And I think when you can take the responsibility of being trustworthy, it is a game changer in the relationship. I mean, think about it when we were young, all the fights back in, high school or young. It's like, well, she told my secret, or she said this, or she did that, or he did this. He said something that was between the two of us. That causes confusion. Yeah. And the reality is, if you were just trustworthy, if you knew the importance that they placed in that conversation, then you would respect it and bring it with care and love. And to me, trust and love is so linked. It's completely linked, because I love you enough to know that I'm gonna be there for you.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. That's right. And so that next question, Sister Ravenel Bay, you want to ask another question?
I can ask. We sure can. Well, let's see here. I'm going to go to this question because I think it's important to throw in it, talk about it, since we're in this space. Where in the Quran do you get inspiration on having good relationships?
Wow, I think that's all up and through the Quran. Honestly, sheesh.
What's a recent time? What's a recent something that brought some inspiration in that?
Let me think. So I would say social duties.
Mhm.
That's definitely a chapter in the Quran that I often go to. Also, the friendship between Jesus and Lamas.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
I go to charity. I mean, listen, you can go all over. You can go
Mm-hmm.
all over. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many chapters in our Quran. I have become accustomed to honestly walking around with my Quran in my purse, and I have a lot
Yes.
in my purse, but I
Yes.
make sure that I might not be able to find
Yes.
anything else in there because there's so much stuff. But I can whip that Quran out real quick,
That's
and
right.
I positioned it purposely so that when I'm in need of a thought,
Mm-hmm.
if when I'm in need of like that positivity, that motivation, I can open that Quran real quick. And so one of my favorite chapters is charity. Um, all the chapters are beautiful, but just thinking about that one and social duties.
Praise Allah. I
Praise
would say
Allah.
chapter 21, chapter 22 in relationship, being that we
Hmm.
this is also about dating. And so in dating, it says fear daughter, fear daughter. And so when that chapter speaks to you, it's like be fair because you a fear daughter of love.
Hmm.
And then you're considering your own imperfections and considering what your purpose is in dating and being that woman or friend, sister friend. I always would say to my husband when I write out his birthday cards or anniversary cards, it's always your wife's sister friend or your sister friend wife.
Wow.
I always sign that on the bottom because those things he is to me and I am to him.
Right.
And I heard my nephew say today, and I say that often in the temple, but I heard my nephew say it to me today. He said, "You know what, Mom?" He told his mother while we were on the phone. "You know what? I just realized that even though you're my mother, you possibly could be my sister too. And if we all children of God, then we all sisters and brothers." I said, "Right."
Praise Allah.
And just to hear a child to say that, you
Right.
are bound by cords to everything.
Mm.
Your mother is your sister. And you equally, and my sister told him, watch out now. Don't think that you can. I said, no, as a sister, he still should respect you just like he was respect his mother.
Hmm.
Don't separate us. You know,
Right.
there's something about that relationship when you understand that's your brother, man. When you look in the face of man, you look in the face of Allah.
Wow.
That's
Right.
Mhm.
Allah. I'm looking in the face. And even if I don't like what I'm seeing, I learn to place that particular energy where it needs to be. But I'm going to do it in love and protect the two of us. So even in our relationship,
Hmm.
we disagree with something, we spar together. I immediately want us to make up because it's like, wow, that wasn't right. I have to hear some truth in what he was saying. But it's
Right.
all about how we accept who we completely are.
Hmm.
I accept him for who he is, and he accept me for who I am, and we can get along. And so
Praise
that's
God.
what I say to that. See the sisters and brothers in each other.
Praise a lot. And just to add to what you just said, when man, man honors Allah.
Yes.
And it's a blessing because, I'm pretty sure you have more years than Sister Ravenel Bay and I. And so I'm just sitting here listening because see, I'm learning too.
Right.
I'm learning too. So when I get to that point, no, I'm joking. Praise Allah. No, but I do. It's important to accept others, especially my husband for who he is, as
That's
well as him accepting me for who I am,
Praise
and being honest, because that's just me. It
right.
took some time to get there. It took.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, marriage is work.
Yes,
You
it is.
cannot think that in this particular relationship that once you sign papers and become obligated under the Moorish Temple of America, everything is going to go away. Like y'all
No,
all going to be floating on
no,
air and everything
mm-mm,
is. No,
mm-mm.
you got two
No.
lower selves
It's
and
work.
two higher selves, and you have to know how to battle those two lower selves.
Right.
You have to know how to battle them because you know it's just getting that negativity out of here. But it's not to say that you won't go through things, because you're still growing and unfolding, as it was spoke about earlier.
Yes.
And that's an important part of that's an important part of marriage.
Right.
And commitment. That's a very important part. And so just honors to you, Sister Mary Bay, for your longevity in this situation, because I know I'm learning some things. Praise Allah.
You know, I want to just add that when you meet your significant other, right, there's things that happen if we're attentive to it. Yeah. And so when I met my husband, he was a person who was singing songs and relating them to God. And I was like, he's kind of young to be doing that. You know, it was different. He was young. I mean, I grew up in church, but at the same time, you don't really see that in guys who don't go to church, but he had these moral values about him. He knew God. And quickly sharing that, when I heard him do that, I'm like, well, he's talking about me when he's singing the song. But then he go, you don't hear how that sounds like the Creator? And I'm like, what? So I say that to say, know what you're getting into. You know, when you meet people, you find out who they are.
Right.
Show you who they are and believe them, and you would appreciate. Not that it was always good, because when we had hard times, I say, wow, I wish that we can pray together. He did his praying, and then what he did on his own, and I did mine, but never together. Now we face the East, and we say a Moorish American prayer. That's right. So that alone, sisters, as Moorish American Muslims, I'm pretty sure you can camel walk with me.
Absolutely.
That is a true blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, looking back, years ago, it was deep, because we were young. My husband and I were very young when we got married, and people would say to us, like, why y'all doing it now? Why y'all want to wait a while? We was like, no, because see, when you said pay attention, because there are some things that you wouldn't even notice. It's so deep, because we knew when we met and started that courting process, we were like, this is it.
Right.
And see, when you have experienced certain things in life, you don't need to question what Allah has already ordained.
That's right.
This is what Allah had in store for you. This is Allah's plan. So him nor I needed to question that. And it was a blessing, because when people would say, why you get married so young right now? It was like, this is who I want to spend my life with.
That's right.
This is who I feel connected to. And, those thoughts and things only come from Allah, because Allah binds two hearts together. You understand? Right. So it's like, that was a blessing for us.
Yes.
To be as young as we were. I believe the brother was 21 and he was 20 and I was 22, or 21 to 23, something like that. But it was a beautiful demonstration, because we had realized that we were going to let Allah dictate to us what our life needed to be from then on out. And that was a blessing for us, because we had been doing things the wrong way. I know I had been doing things the wrong way for quite some time, and I was a little tired of that. It's like, listen, if you think your condition can be better, come on now. Let's work on this. And so, I have never regretted, making that move at that time when I did. I've always been grateful, because it was almost like Allah smiled upon me and said that you matter and your life matters, and it's time for you to make that change.
That's right.
And so when you feel that resonate in your spirit, that it's time for you to turn around from them things that you have already been going through for so long.
Yes.
That's a blessing. You have to adhere to those, that still small voice. That still small voice, you have to obey. You have to obey.
Right. That's right.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
Come on, Sister Ravenel Bay.
No, I mean, there were so many thoughts popping in my head when you all were talking. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just let it keep going. When the sister said, when you're getting married and there's two higher selves and two lower selves,
Right.
It made me think about, I visually saw that, and then you add babies in a relationship, right? And now you got more higher self and lower self. And
More
so
people.
if you don't work on that relationship, you can have it can be a rough house, right? Seriously. So
Right.
when you said that, I just saw it like, oh, that energy, and
Mhm.
multiply that, and how you do have to work on a relationship. You do have to, and there can be so many distractions.
Mhm.
The illusions of the world. It could be, work. It could be sometimes the things people, particularly I'll say women, I know I was there too. Sometimes when you have a child, all your attention may go to your child. And you're like, husband,
Yes.
and I always remember someone telling me beforehand, said, don't forget to nurture your marriage. Don't
Mhm.
nurture your marriage. And I said, oh, of course I will. And they're like, mm-mm. They said, this is really important because you're going to experience a love that you may never have thought that you were going to experience.
Right.
And you created that situation with someone. And
That's
so
right.
don't lose that.
Mhm.
And
That's
I understood. It was so true, right? I was like, when I had my baby and I saw her and I was like, wow, it was just like this moment. And I remember saying, Allah, I was like, wow, like you allow me to do this, and what responsibility and what weight. And I felt like this extreme responsibility to take care of her and raise her to my fullest. And then I was like, wait a minute, I didn't do this by myself, right?
Right.
So it's because she has two parents to help
That's
her.
right.
Yeah.
And I have to make sure that we work as a team. It's not just me, work as a team to take care of the household and to take care
That's
of her. And so that relationship, it requires work.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest part of going to the inspiration on relationship is really knowing thyself. For me, me really understanding, when I read the chapters on weakness, when I read the chapters on instability of man,
Yes.
I see me and I have so much empathy for others because I realize, right,
Right.
that, it's just not me. It's not me. He's going through. We're all going through it.
That's
That's
right.
right.
I'm like, oh wow, I gotta have a little more compassion because everybody's going through this.
That's
And
right.
the more I keep till today, the more I keep studying on myself, it helps strengthen my relationship with many because I can see it in me to work on me and recognize that my brothers and sisters, we all going through this. So how can we help each other?
That's right.
How can I help him? How can I help others? So, yes, Sister Berry Bay, I know you way ahead of me. I'm 17 years. I'm still a baby probably in your eyes, but
Right.
Well, I mean, for myself and my husband, we've been married. We obligated for, I think, 10 years. We've been married. We've been together for 28 years.
Wow.
And when we got obligated, that was in 2017 in the temple. And so, but that's a learning process. You understand? It was one day my husband was like, we're getting married. We have children who are watching. We have to set examples because we think we know, being conscious. You think the government, they don't put us together. We always thought like that. But at the same time, we had that mentality. But it was like, okay, we get ready to tie this knot for real legally because we saw people in our family losing their loved ones and they can't even make it to the funeral.
Wow.
Because you're not married to them. The family's doing whatever they're going to do. So we were cautious of that our children wouldn't have to go through those things, And so being together in a relationship, learning each other in 28 years is a very long time.
Yes.
It's a very long time. And I think it was 29. I think I'm a little short 1 year, but praise Allah. When you're in a relationship with a person, remember, like you said, you have to know who you are. You got to be mindful for you. You got to be mindful for the loved one. I believe that our sister and brother spoke about that last night, Hopkins Bay. In a Hopkins Bay, she spoke on about the excitement. I'm that person. When my husband walked through that door, I'm acting like a big kid. Hey, baby, how you doing? I do all that. And he go,
praise Allah.
You have to show excitement. And the children get excited with us. My baby used to know he was coming home before he knocked on the door. That was the relationship and the atmosphere that we created. So you teach your children to learn energy by the way you behave.
That's right.
We live energy. We live that in our atmosphere all around the house. Everyone was a color of a chakra. And so we knew the energy of every single person.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. My husband corrected me. 15 years married. Okay.
He came in the room to tell you.
And said 15 years. He said it was long. 15 years, sister. 29 years together. So praise Allah.
Praise Allah. He had your back.
He had my back. He had my back. Because you get stuck on those years. I remember somebody at my job said, Sister Baby, you said you was together for 10 years last year. I said, 11. So, you get, but we
forget you sometimes.
And so when we did tie the knot, it was on his birthday. It's something that's sharing your whole day. Sometimes I fall back like happy birthday. And I won't even say anniversary in the public because you shared a day, a whole day that you can. So he's not an attention getter. You know that, sharing your birthday. You know? So I'll be getting gifts on his birthday too, y'all. But I want to move into the next question if we are able to.
Okay, go ahead.
Praise the Lord.
This next question, you know what, Sister T. Hopkins Bay? I think you should ask your question. That's a good one.
Praise Allah. So my question is, what is the difference between your relationship with God and the one you have with others?
Ooh.
And we're gonna answer this question, but also give our closing remarks because we are coming close to time.
Okay.
So I'll start and I'll go. So the relationship with God is to me is different because Allah knows all.
That's right.
Allah knows all. And so he knows your thoughts before they even come out your mouth, before you even think them. He knows what you're going to do, what you're going to say, how you're going to feel. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, it's different because, you can't hide from Allah. We can be as honest here with others as possible, as sincere here with others as possible. But it's different with Allah because Allah's your father. You know what I mean? So therefore you can go to him and have discussions and be comfortable in those discussions and those decisions you may make because you're talking to him versus another person. See, man is that truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
That's
so
right.
You may take your questions to a person, they might give you the strangely mixed answer. You gotta be careful. But but praise Allah, when we're talking to Allah, we got to be able to trust that answer is going to come in that still small voice and all is going to be well. So in my opinion, that's one of the major differences. There's many more, but praise Allah, I'm going to let the other sisters go in.
I mean, I cannot not agree with you, right? There's but one Allah, the author, the creator, the covenant, almighty, eternal, incomprehensible.
That's right.
And so my relationship with Allah is for me, with others, I see it. We're all moving and we're all trying to have our own relationships and moving and going and we're partnering and working together. But my relationship with Allah is, I see it as I just fall in. I could just fall in. When I'm having a great thing has happened, I can just lean in and he knows. I don't even need to describe it, right? Because he already knows I'm coming in gratitude or I'm coming in sincerity or if there's difficulties, but when there's good times, when I have those conversations with Allah, I can when I'm can be very visual, I can just like lean into it and I know I am okay no matter what it is. And so it's a wonderful relationship. And it's one that I know that no matter what is going on with the people, because everybody's, like she said, strangely mixed, everybody got different things and they may see things a different way, or they may tell you, or may they point you a different way. I know when I go to Allah, I'm okay.
That's right.
Praise Allah.
In the path that he opened for me. I'm okay.
Praise Allah.
I totally agree with both of my sisters. Your relationship with Allah is very intimate. It's a sacred place.
Mm-hmm.
There's no judgment, there's no blame, there's no doubt or fears when you have a relationship with Allah. Um, and then when you make error and mistakes, when you fall short, know that Allah is most merciful.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what people think about you. Allah is willing to forget you. You start all over again that very next minute, second, hour, whatever it is, the next day. You begin a new way of being and correcting the errors that you make and strive for that purity in life.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to move away from your sinful ways, which we all have a lower self and a higher self. Be mindful. It's okay to say, I fell this time, but I will do it again.
That's
It's
right.
okay to stand in your wrong and correct it. Make a speedy reparation and all shall be well. But I thought about, and with people, I thought about where it says, in society, you've been placed. It says,
Mm-hmm.
and placed thee in society to receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations, protections from injuries, thou enjoyments of the comforts and the pleasures of life. All
Mm-hmm.
these thou oweth to assistance of others, and could have not enjoyed but in the bands of society.
That's right.
We are also learning to love or have that relationship in society and know that it's a two-way street,
Mm-hmm.
two-way commitment. You have to be kind to man, and we expect man to be kind to us. It's
Great.
a two-way street. Always know that. What am I doing to receive this? Whatever you are receiving is because of what you're giving out.
Mm-hmm.
Can't blame people, for what's happening. Always know what you see in others is what you don't like in others is what you don't like about yourself. And so that's how I move along with when Allah's guiding me and I'm attentive to the presence of Allah. But with that, I will give the closing remarks. Please stay tuned for our national Facebook shows, which we have the workshop at 9 p.m. on Monday, this coming Monday, Universal Love at 7 p.m. in 2 weeks. And of course, Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. We also have our Sunday school, and Friday Sunday school starts at 2:00 on our national page, National Sunday School, and Friday Holy Day at 7:30. We thank you all for being here present and attending and showing so much love. We really appreciate you. And
Yeah.
Islam, all of our sisters that are normally on the show, we send some love to you as well. I see you in the chat. We love you. We miss
Yes.
you. And you'll be back real soon.
Praise
Stay
God.
diligent. And with that, I say peace.
Peace.
Peace.